Just before Christmas 2023, in San Antonio, Texas, 18-year-old Savannah Sodto and her boyfriend, 22-year-old Matthew Guerra, have gone missing. The couple are about to become parents, with Savannah due to give birth in an induced labor at the hospital, but she never shows up.
We're entitled to know something about her. We love her, we miss her, whatever's going on, let her come home so we can have a Merry Christmas with her.
But Christmas Day passes with no sign. And the next day, December 26th, someone contacts the cops with a discovery no family wants to find.
Looked in the window and started screaming. I rode up right behind her, saw her screaming. I was like, okay, I know what this is.
What we're looking at right now is a very, very perplexing crime scene.
He was a narcissist. He knew how to manipulate her into believing things were going to be great.
She just started bleeding.
Here on The Decoder, with exclusive police footage, this is the story.
Just before Christmas 2023, in a quiet apartment complex in San Antonio, Texas, 18-year-old Savannah Sodto was due to walk into a hospital and become a mother. She never made it. Her boyfriend, 22-year-old Matthew Guerra, vanished with her. And when police finally found them, what they uncovered wasn't a tragedy of chance. It was a killing built on a lie so specific, so anatomically wrong, that it would unravel the moment a detective looked at a photograph of a gunshot wound. Here's the detail that breaks this case wide open. The shooter said the bullet struck the victim's left side. The autopsy said right. That single contradiction, left versus right, became the thread that pulled apart an entire fabricated story of self-defense. This is the case of Savannah Sodto and Matthew Guerra, and it is a masterclass in how forensic evidence doesn't lie even when everyone in the room does. Let's set the scene. Savannah was scheduled for an induced labor appointment right before Christmas. Her family arrived at the hospital to support her. She wasn't there. No hospital had a record of her. Police were called, and when officers forced entry into her apartment
1:30 that evening, police arrive at her address to conduct a welfare check. They find her door broken open.
Police, anybody here? Show me your hands. So we got a full hallway down here. It's out to the patio. Check the patio.
Police department.
Police. Oh, what you got there, Greg?
Police department.
They found something almost eerier than chaos, nothing, no struggle. No overturned furniture. A nursery, fully prepared for a baby.
Nothing seems out of place in the apartment apart from the door. And Savannah's family have been calling around all the hospitals in the area. None of them have seen a patient by that name.
And like I told you when I worked at a hospital, if she doesn't put you on an approved list, they're not going to tell you if she's checked in or not.
It's weird that the boyfriend's answering you, but never know.
Her dad's only possible clue is her boyfriend, Matthew Guerra, who's also nowhere to be found.
Sarge, you said he was telling me that the boyfriend's a drug dealer, but he's been assaulted in the past.
He's been in trouble with the law before.
The only sign anything was wrong was the broken door. And even that, it turned out, hadn't been kicked in by an intruder. It had been kicked in by Matthew's own father.
At that time, the person who kicked the door open was Matt's dad. He originally, and this is what he told me on the phone, and he told me he did that because he was trying to get a hold of Savannah and Matt. He was worried. Now, again, I asked him, would you ignore that under certain circumstances? Again, it's not my job to start pointing fingers and saying, hey, that doesn't sound right or not. That doesn't add up. But according to him, he said, hey, listen, Savannah was supposed to deliver that baby. I guess the baby is named Fabian. And, that didn't happen. I said, I want to know what happened to her. Is she okay? And so he
panicked because his son wasn't answering his phone. Within hours, investigators learned this wasn't a simple missing persons case. Savannah's family told police that Matthew had a documented history of violence against her, a prior arrest for assault causing bodily injury.
He was very controlling of her. He didn't allow her to have no social media, nothing like that.
Mm-hmm. I remember back when her last Christmas, as a matter of fact, right? Christmas Eve, he beat her up so bad.
Where was this at?
At the apartments off of
Marconi Heights, right?
Yeah, I-10, and the ring camera across the hall got everything. The cops were there. By the time I got there, she was gone. He was gone. They locked him up.
Apparently, this incident with her boyfriend and the father of her unborn child, Matthew, wasn't the only issue between them.
He's always been abusive to her, and I tell her I was in an abusive relationship with her dad. And I tell her constantly, you don't want to go through that. So that one time when he really hurt her, we called the cops and everything, and she still went back to him.
With active bond conditions explicitly bearing any contact.
Attention. So I noticed there was an past arrest on September 27th for assault BI against Savannah, and I saw that there was condition of bonds, no contact, right? No communication, no harassing, something like that.
September 27th of this year?
I believe that's where, and that might have been an update on there, but that's what the record check showed. So with that, does that sound consistent?
Why? I haven't heard that he's hurt her before, after that.
Would she purposefully conceal that information from you guys?
Yes. In plain terms, a judge had already ordered these two young people to stay away from each other. They hadn't. And now they were both gone. Add to that a missing rifle, a missing stash of cash.
With no sign of a struggle, not even the kicked-in door, the detectives have to consider that this missing persons case might be a domestic, and Matt is their prime suspect.
I know you mentioned that there was a gun or a rifle.
A big one it was like a big one that had little holes, black with holes, like.
Okay.
Something like that.
Was it like this long?
It was like this long, and I saw a stack of money like that was still there. When we went back, their dad was there, and he was downstairs already by the time I got there. And when I walked in, the guns were gone, the money was gone, and I was like, who came in here?
And a boyfriend allegedly moving in the orbit of drug dealing, and detectives had a matrix of motives before they even had a crime scene.
I can really, speculate as to why, but I want your take on this. Why would Savannah stay with Matthew knowing that he's violent, he's already beat her up, assaulted her? In your opinion, why would she stay?
I don't know. I'm gonna...
I just feel like he was a narcissist. He knew how to manipulate her into believing things were going to be great.
They got one on December 26th. A tip led police to a gray Kia sedan, seemingly abandoned outside an apartment complex miles away. Inside were two bodies, Savannah in the front seat.
A local resident has spotted Matthew's car, a gray Kia, parked outside an apartment building on Danny K Drive, seemingly abandoned. They call Savannah's family, and Savannah's family call the police.
So I don't know how they got the tip, but we've been getting tips from all over the place. And so they got a tip, they started headed this way, I head this way.
The officers search the car as Matthew's family also arrives. They've heard there might have been a break in the case, but it's the kind of break the officers dread making. Holding up a sheet to keep it private, they found the dead bodies of Matthew and Savannah.
Matthew in the back, both dead of gunshot wounds. The first working theory, given everything the family had described about the relationship, was the obvious one murder-suicide.
We have possibly a murder-suicide we're following up on. We just found a missing person's vehicle with the two missing people inside. It's going to be obviously a homicide investigation, but I was told to notify the news office that have a heads up so that there's some sort of rigor already setting in. They've been not decomposed, but you could tell it's kind of seems like the bodies have been there for a couple of days. Appears to be gunshot wounds.
Savannah is found in the front seat with a gunshot wound to the head. Matthew's in the back seat. It looks like he's been shot in the head too, or shot himself. At least that's the officer's initial theory, a murder-suicide, especially with everything Savannah's family told them.
An abusive boyfriend, a young woman trying to leave, a tragic and violent ending. That theory lasted about as long as it took a homicide detective to actually examine the car.
There's no sign of the murder weapon, and Matthew appears to have been dragged into the car after his death. He's an innocent victim after all. This is a double murder, and the killer is still at large.
Good afternoon. I'm Detective Jeremy Goodwin with the San Antonio Police Department Homicide.
Detective Goodwin is called to the scene to investigate.
The steering wheel had apparent blood on it, as well as the center console. As I looked up, as I'm kind of kneeling down looking up towards the visor, I observed what appeared to be a bullet defect near the driver visor of that.
Savannah was
weapon at the scene. That alone should stop any murder, suicide theory in its tracks, Dead men don't dispose of their own guns. But it got stranger. Blood was found not just where the shootings occurred, but on the outside sidewall of a rear tire and inside the wheel rim itself. Consistent not with a man dying inside a car, but with a body being dragged against that tire after death, then the car being driven away. Someone had moved Matthew's corpse. Someone who wasn't Matthew. This is where the investigation stops being about a couple and starts being about a cover-up. Detectives pulled surveillance footage from the apartment complex and watched a pickup truck roll into frame at 11:59 p.m. on December 21st.
Overlooking the parking lot. At 11:59 p.m. on December 21st, a Chevrolet van is seen pulling in. The truck bed cover is at an angle, like there's something jamming it open. Then, Matthew's Kia is seen coming towards the truck.
So as a vehicle approached, another vehicle came, which appeared to be the victim's vehicle. It approached the truck with its lights off. The truck ends up turning its lights off as well. And then the driver of the truck gets out of the car and approaches the driver of the other victim's vehicle.
The driver of the truck gets out, takes a white towel, and appears to wipe down the outside of the Kia door where he touched it.
What does the individual tell you?
He steps out, and when I observed that, it did not appear to be Matthew, as Matthew is very tall and lanky, and that individual did not appear to be that tall.
The drivers get back into the vehicle and drive behind the apartment building. 3.5 minutes later, the truck reappears.
Can you make any observations about the truck at this point?
Yes, ma'am. The bed of the truck is no longer angled. Doesn't appear off-center, but like I said, it appears flat.
As though whatever was in the truck bed, perhaps Matthew's body, has been left behind. Detective
truck bed
Goodwin
visibly propped open by something wedged inside. Minutes later, Matthew's Kia pulled up alongside it, headlights cutting off in unison with the truck's. The universal signal of two vehicles trying not to be seen. A figure stepped out, wiped down the door handle of Matthew's car with a white cloth, and climbed back in. Both vehicles disappeared behind the building. 3.5 minutes later, the truck remerged, its bed now flat, empty. Whatever had been weighing it down apparently left behind. GPS data pulled from the Kia told detectives exactly where that meeting point had been, a residence on a quiet residential street, visited for 4 minutes shortly before midnight, cross-referencing that address with Matthew's own phone search history. He had looked up the very same street earlier that day. Investigators identified the household. It belonged to a family with a son close in age to Matthew and Savannah, 19-year-old
on
Christopher
December
Preciado.
21st. According to GPS data, it stopped at Charlie Chan Drive at 11:50 p.m. and stayed there for 4 minutes.
So I went to Google Earth just to see the intersection, see what was in the area. And when I did that, I noticed there was a truck that was very similar to the vehicle observed on 5903 Danny K in the driveway of Charlie Chan. So I decided to research that address.
And what did you find through your research?
I found the residence of the location. The first one I found was Ramon Preciado.
Matthew's internet search history shows he searched Charlie Chan Drive that same day. That makes it likely it was Matthew who was driving before they got there. But as seen on CCTV, it wasn't Matthew who was driving just a few minutes after they left.
I was able to go to our driver's license database. I was able to view a photo of Ramon, and the listing on your DL has your height, your weight, and has a picture of you. He resembled the male observed getting out of the truck, very, very similar. Then I observed that he had a wife at the location, Myrto Romanos. And then I checked the databases and found that they had a son, Christopher Preciado, who resided at the location. Christopher was the same age or around the same age as Matthew and Savannah.
A pharmacy student with a driver's license photo that matched the build of the man seen wiping down the car door. When detectives sat him down, Christopher tried to build a
Christopher to the police department for separate interviews. Christopher is 19 and a student, majoring in pharmacy. And when he's left alone in the interrogation room, he starts to behave strangely. He pulls his chair in without touching it with his fingertips, like he's afraid of leaving evidence behind.
I always feel tearful, right? So I kind of get a little bit what he was talking about.
He said Matthew showed up agitated, pulled a gun in the confined space of the car, and threatened him. He said the gun discharged as he tried to push it away, first striking Savannah, then in a second struggle striking Matthew. Self-defense in his telling.
When he arrived at my house, he was kind of agitated already with me. Like, he was like, man, I told you to be out here already. Like, why aren't you already out here waiting for me? And he was already agitated. He was like, come on, man, just get the kid, just get the kid, bro. Come on, hurry up, let's do this and just get out of here. I was like, what? It was weird to me because that was the first time he's ever, like, told me to get in his car. So I didn't know how to go about that. I want to be like, no, because I don't know what it was going to escalate to. Yeah. Sorry, it's just you're okay. Good job, man. It's just a shitty situation. So, I don't know.
Christopher says he felt like he had no choice but to get in the car. Savannah was there too.
A little dazed, confused a little bit, so I don't know if he was, I don't know. But he was like, I could tell he was on something, like, that wasn't his normal behavior. So, he's really getting agitated with me. His girl's not helping him. She's trying to talk to him when he's trying to talk to me. I don't know what, she was talking to him about something, but he just kept getting agitated with her. And he was just like, man, can you shut up? He was trying to tell her to shut up. Because when we were talking, I was like, no, I'll just be quiet, y'all can talk, go ahead. I didn't want the situation already seemed a little nerve-wracking. So after he was like getting agitated with her, he has like something right here where he has his gun, and what he did was he was like already agitated with her, and he was just sitting there, and then all of a sudden he's like, man, bro, you know what? He was like, yo, bro, just get the out, bro, just get the out. So I was about to get out, but I guess I went like this, like to grab my phone because I wanted to flash. Because it's dark in the middle of the night. I had never been in that car before, so I didn't want to step on anything. So I was just opening the door. Like I was about to open the door, I go like this for my phone. I try to turn the flash on, and then as soon as he does that, he reacts. He goes like this, and he pulls the little gun on me. Okay.
A robbery gone wrong, and him the reluctant survivor. But self-defense stories have to survive contact with physics, and this one didn't. Christopher told Detective Savannah was shot on her left side. The medical examiner's findings said otherwise. The wound was on her right.
According to Christopher, Matthew pulled his gun.
And then he kind of had it in my face, and I saw I was looking in there. There was already one in there. After he did that, I could tell he was about to pull it on me, so it was like it's pretty much in my face. So I go like that, and then he pulls it
the trigger. Okay. And then are you in the back seat?
I'm in the back seat.
So he's pointing at you, so it goes off in the back seat.
Yeah, well, not in the back seat, like I push it because I don't want it in my face, I'm like this, so I go like that, and I kind of push it away, and I kind of duck down because I didn't want it to hit me.
But the bullet didn't hit Christopher, it hit Savannah.
She just started, like, bleeding. I can see she was bleeding right here.
On her left side?
I think so, yeah.
But there's
That's
a problem.
not a rounding error. That's the entire narrative collapsing under its own geometry. Detective Goodwin physically demonstrated in the interrogation room that the angle Christopher described, Matthew supposedly looking at Savannah while shooting toward the back seat, would have required a contortion of the arm that simply couldn't produce the bullet trajectory found by the visor and inside the vehicle. The story didn't just have holes. It had ballistics working against it. Then there was the blood that shouldn't exist if Christopher's account were true. He claimed he never left the vehicle, that Matthew's body stayed slumped in the back seat the entire drive to where it was dumped. But blood on the cylinder of the gun, blood inside the wheel rim.
And that is blood on this cylinder. Okay? That shouldn't be there if you stay inside the car the whole time. Okay? There's also blood in the rims, which shouldn't be there. Did all of this come from whenever you and your dad were at the location? At Danny K? Did you guys take him out? No. Okay.
There were no drag marks on the car's entire console, and no blood on the front headrest where Matthew was supposedly sitting when he died.
This wound right here, that's called the contract wound. Right, so you pushed, it means that the gun was up against his head when he was shot. That's on the right side of his head. So his head would have to be facing this way, looking this way, when his gun hits.
He was looking at her the whole time.
So how is it when you said he was looking at you, he pointed at you?
Well, he had pointed at me, and then he was like, kind of going like that.
But Detective Goodwin can demonstrate that this can't be true.
This way, right? So if I'm driving here, and he's looking this way, if he's pulling here, he'd have to break it, like basically bend it all the way here to get the angle that we're talking about up on here, right? So I'm bringing my arm back to try to get that angle. So doing that, it's going to be hard to get a contact shot at the angle of a through and through with a defect by the visor.
The absence of any blood transfer on the headrest where Matthew supposedly died. None of it lined up with a body that had simply stayed put. It lined up with a body that had been removed, handled, and staged, and the home surveillance system that could have settled everything in an instant. Conveniently, the family claimed it only ever displayed live footage. Nothing was recorded. Except archived
cameras
clips did
do
exist.
store recorded footage, and when the detectives get a hold of it, it throws everything into question. At 11:50 p.m., Christopher is seen heading out to meet Matthew's car. He's gone 2 minutes. Then he runs back into frame at 11:52, looking panicked. 30 seconds later, he hurries back to the car. Christopher claimed he didn't get out of the car at all. He also claimed he only called his dad for help, but his mom and his dad are both seen on the security cameras hurrying to get in the truck. His mom looks around for Matthew's car before she does.
As the suspect truck leaves, do you make any observations about the bed of the truck?
So when you look at the video, the bed of the truck as it's leaving the driveway is flat and center on the defendant's dad's vehicle.
The truck bed is uneven when it arrives at the apartment complex 4 minutes later. Sometime in that 4 minutes,
And they showed something Christopher never mentioned: him running from the car in a panic, disappearing from frame, and his parents both rushing out to the truck that would later be caught on complex CCTV with an uneven, overloaded bed. The motive detectives ultimately built wasn't a robbery gone wrong at Christopher's expense. It was the reverse. Matthew, allegedly arranging a drug transaction that night, was lured to that address and killed along with Savannah, who was simply in the wrong seat of the wrong car. In the days after, someone returned to their apartment and stripped it of anything valuable. Jewelry Matthew had been wearing on surveillance the night he died was never recovered. Wallets and purses vanished, and a search warrant later confirmed items present during the initial welfare check had disappeared by the time investigators returned. Christopher Preciado was charged with 3 counts of capital murder, 1 for each life lost that night, including the unborn child Savannah, and Matthew had named Fabian. His father was charged separately with abuse of a corpse. At trial, the defense tried to shift blame back onto Christopher's own parents. It didn't work. The jury returned a guilty verdict, and Christopher was sentenced to life in prison. Family members delivered victim impact statements condemning both the killing and the self-defense narrative that had tried and failed to explain it away.
And Christopher's attorney directs blame towards his parents during the trial. The gun believed to be the murder weapon was found in his parents' closet. But in the end, Christopher was the one inside the Kia and the one who pulled the trigger.
Count 1, capital murder, murder of more than one person in the same criminal transaction. Verdict form: we, the jury, find the defendant Christopher Ray Preciado guilty of the offense of capital murder as charged in count 1.
He is sentenced to life in prison. At his hearing, the families made victim impact statements.
You took Matthew, and you took their unborn son. He didn't even have a chance to live. Not one day.
Matthew was my brother. He's my best friend. And I just want to say you are a very stupid person, and I can't believe you and your common attorney wasted everybody's time with that pathetic excuse of self-defense. I hope wherever you go, they know who you are and what you did, and they treat you accordingly.
The father's case was installed, his trial postponed indefinitely. Charges against Christopher's mother were dropped entirely, which means for now, only one person has faced full accountability for a night that took 3 lives before one of them ever drew a breath. But the case endures as a reminder of exactly how forensic detail works against a liar. Not with drama, not with a smoking gun confession. With a single wrong word, left instead of right, that told investigators everything they needed to know. If you found this case as chilling as we did, let us know in the comments, and stay with us for the next one.